heart of the Middle East lies a land smaller than many modern cities, yet it holds more stories, more faith, and more conflict than almost anywhere else on earth. This is the Holy Land, Israel and Palestine. A sacred crossroads, where history and prophecy, dreams and despair, collide. But beyond the headlines, beyond politics and religion, there is something the world rarely sees, what the Holy Land still hides. The story begins thousands of years ago, when this land was called Canaan. It was promised, fought over, divided, rebuilt, and conquered countless times. Jews, Christians, and Muslims all trace deep spiritual roots to this soil. For Jews, it is the land given by God to Abraham's descendants. For Christians, it is where Jesus walked, taught, died, and was resurrected. For Muslims, it is where the Prophet Muhammad ascended to heaven. Three faiths, one sacred ground, and yet, a constant struggle over who belongs. Through the centuries, empires came and went: Egyptians, Assyrians, Babylonians, Persians, Greeks, Romans, Byzantines, and Ottomans. Each left their mark. Each claimed to bring order or divine justice, and each, in time, fell. But the people never stopped believing that this land was more than geography. It was destiny. The Jewish people's story is one of exile and return, a cycle written in both history and hope. After the Roman destruction of Jerusalem in the year 70 CE, Jews were scattered across the world. For centuries they dreamed of coming back, praying, next year in Jerusalem. Meanwhile, others lived and flourished here: Christian pilgrims, Arab tribes, and later, Muslim dynasties. Under Islamic rule, cities like Jerusalem, Hebron, and Nablus became centers of faith and culture. For hundreds of years, Jews, Christians, and Muslims lived side by side, sometimes peacefully, sometimes not. The Holy Land became a mirror of the world's contradictions, a place of holiness, but also of human weakness. roots to the late 1800s, when Jewish nationalism, Zionism, emerged in response to growing persecution in Europe. Jewish immigrants began returning to what was then Ottoman Palestine, seeking refuge and rebirth. When the Ottoman Empire collapsed after World War I, Britain took control under the Mandate for Palestine. The Balfour Declaration of 1917 promised a national home for the Jewish people, but also vowed to protect the rights of existing non-Jewish communities. Two promises. One land. It was a contradiction that would shape a century of turmoil. As Jewish immigration increased, tensions grew with Arab residents who feared losing their homes and identity. Riots, protests, and mistrust spread, a cycle that no one could stop. In 1947, the United Nations proposed to divide the land into two states, one Jewish, one Arab. Jewish leaders accepted. Arab leaders rejected. And when the British left in 1948, war broke out. Israel declared independence. Neighboring Arab nations invaded. When the fighting stopped, Israel controlled more land than the UN plan had granted. Hundreds of thousands of Palestinians became refugees, their villages destroyed or abandoned. They call it al-Nakba, the catastrophe. For Israelis, it was the miracle of survival and rebirth after centuries of exile. For Palestinians, it was the beginning of loss and longing. Two peoples, two narratives, both born from the same moment. Since 1948, the land has known more wars than decades of peace. 1967, the Six-Day War, Israel seizes East Jerusalem, Gaza, and the West Bank. 1973, the Yom Kippur War. Then peace treaties with Egypt and Jordan, but never with the Palestinians. The Oslo Accords of the 1990s promised hope, two states living side by side. There were handshakes, speeches, and a moment when peace seemed within reach. But reality was harsher. Assassinations, suicide bombings, political divisions, and deep mistrust buried that dream. Today, walls and checkpoints divide the land. Gaza is sealed off, under blockade and conflict. The West Bank remains fragmented by settlements and military zones. Jerusalem, claimed by both peoples, is united on maps but divided in spirit. And through it all, ordinary people, Israelis and Palestinians, keep living, loving, and surviving amid the uncertainty. Simple to see. Behind every wall, there is fear. Behind every prayer, there is hope. Behind every political slogan, there are human lives, families who want peace, safety, and dignity. Hidden in plain sight are stories of coexistence, Jewish and Arab doctors working side by side in hospitals. Muslim and Christian women protecting one another in times of unrest. Israeli and Palestinian activists planting olive trees together on scarred hillsides. The media rarely shows these moments, because peace doesn't make headlines. But here, in the quiet corners of Jerusalem or the hills of Galilee, you can still find compassion, fragile, but real. This land carries the prayers of billions. And yet, those prayers often rise over the same stones where others have fallen. Faith has been used both to heal and to harm. But the true spirit of the Holy Land, what it still hides, is not in politics, or power, or prophecy. It is in the people who refuse to give up on one another. The rabbi who teaches forgiveness. The imam who preaches patience. The priest who shelters the displaced. These are the hidden saints of modern times, voices of mercy drowned by the noise of conflict. There is another side to this land, young Israelis and Palestinians dreaming beyond borders. They build apps, make films, start companies, and share music that transcends language. They speak of a future where identity is not a weapon, but a bridge. Perhaps this is what the Holy Land is waiting for, a generation brave enough to see the other not as an enemy, but as a neighbor. Peace will not come from a treaty or a speech. It will come from hearts willing to see truth over tribe, and humanity over history. In the end, Israel and Palestine are not just places on a map, they are mirrors of our own world, showing how faith can inspire both hope and hatred, how memory can bind and divide. The Holy Land still hides something deeper than politics. It hides the possibility of forgiveness, the strength of resilience, and the unspoken truth that we all belong to the same earth, the same dust, the same sky.